This Saturday, talkSPORT brings you live commentary of a big South London derby as Croydon's Joshua Buatsi takes on Lewisham's Dan Azeez in a light heavyweight contest at the OVO Arena in Wembley. The action begins over on talkSPORT 2 from 7 o'clock before it switches over to talkSPORT at 9 o'clock for the main event. Two friends that look, everyone knows they're friends. They sparred each other. They know each other well. Does that make it harder when you get in the ring? Is it easier because you know each style? Is it difficult because you guys are kind of friends outside the ring? Do you need that? Like you had it with the girl and Carl Froch, where you're able to get under their skin and kind of just almost annoy the hell out of them. Do you need that, or is it okay just to go in there with someone that you respect?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Eddie, because obviously when I fought a Brit like Froch or De Gale, like we didn't get on, and we were there to get under each other's skin and it was genuine. It was genuine. Yeah. It wasn't fabricated. It wasn't false. And I'm trying to really. I think this one of the most fascinating parts of this Buatsi Azeez setup is like how the journey of friendship has sort of evolved in ways, and it's almost now it's like no, you know, it's not just oh yeah we get on, but this is a bit of business. It feels like no, actually there's a bit of needle there now, and that always happens because people keep asking the same question. You got to keep answering it over and over again, and you know there'll be people there who are picking Buatsi as the favorite, and that'll get Azeez back up. And there'll be people who are wondering why Buatsi sort of hasn't got further than he has, and that'll get his back up. So, you know, I think they've got plans this week to do a gloves are off type confrontation, and it's going to be on fight week. And I think that's the first of its kind. Usually this stuff is banked and put away. You know, imagine you're doing this the night before the weigh-in. So if either one of these chaps are a little bit tight and they've still got a training session to do that evening, they're going to be trying to wind this up real quick. At least I would be, knowing me. So I'm really looking forward to it because Azeez is a bit of a throwback fighter. You know, he call him Super Dan Azeez because he comes in with this lead uppercut that reminded him of Super Mario. I thought that was is that not a great name? So you know, and shorter squat. You know, not quite a peekaboo sort of style, but quite hard to nail and look super strong. I think he's got power. Buatsi looks like a really good athlete. You know, looks like something out of the Kronk gym from the 80s, you know, built like a wedge.
100%.
Strong, punch is very correct. And, you know, working with Virgil out in the States, which I think he still is, that's exciting. He's going to be, you know, just around that old school boxing knowledge day in, day out. You've got to adapt it to yourself and what you can do. But you're thinking that's the first time, you know, he's worked with someone of that sort of pedigree, I believe, as a coach, as a professional coach.
Yeah, like a high level one. Agreed.
Yeah, someone who's you know produced the goods time and time again with fighters. So you know, I think I'm really looking forward to this one. And I don't know who's going to hold their head if they both do or they don't, and how the fight manifests itself. Like after 2 rounds, who's going to sit down? Is then either one going to give a nod or a wink to the other one and say, yeah, I'm in a good position, I'm comfortable?
It just has war written all over it, doesn't it? It's like two guys that are going to come into the center of the ring and they're going to go for it, and going to go for it big. You mentioned Buatsi with Virgil there. Dan Azeez is Buddy McGirt trained. There's a lot of our top stars now, or even just fringe stars, with American trainers. Is that just something random? Is there something more into that about some of the big British names having these American trainers now?
Well, I think you know, professional boxing at that sort of level has been around in the States a lot longer than it has here in the UK. Like if we're being honest, you know, it's sort of with the pay-per-view market here in the UK. There's been big money here, and almost Brits can now bring American trainers over. There's money for that. But the old school boxing knowledge that you get, we've got it here in the UK, but they've got it in abundance in the States, you know. And there is a think and feel of that. And it might be the likes big characters like Anthony Joshua going over to the States that just gives British fighters the sort of the courage to actually go, oh, I might have a venture out there, you know. Because Macklin was out in the wildcard gym with Freddie Roach, you know, well over a decade ago, maybe closer to 2 decades ago. So it's always kind of happened, but now, yeah, I think it's a really good observation that it seems more and more of the talented Brits are deciding, let's see what we can get from the States.
Yeah.
And the more we got over here, then sort of maybe the more lucrative it is for these American coaches to say, okay, I'll come over Buddy McGirt and I'll do a bit with Dan Azeez and I'll do a bit with Callum Smith or I'll do a bit with this guy or that guy. But it's obviously still a lot of good
No,
boxing
there's
coaches
loads of
here in
good.
the UK
Yeah,
from the UK.
100%.
But that's a great observation.
I guess it's a big one for Buatsi more than Azeez. I know Azeez is slightly older, but for Buatsi, when you look at all the fighters around him in the 175-pound division that have had those world title shots before him, Anthony Yard, Callum Johnson, Callum Smith, Craig Richards fought Dimitri Bivol as well a few years back. He's almost playing catch up with his rivals now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think he is, because yeah, you would pick him in front of all those guys as prospects when they're all turning over. I mean, Craig Richards sort of had no real backing. I remember speaking to him and saying, everyone was excited about the Olympians and I wasn't one, so I had to fight my way through. And then when the fights show up, I'll take him at late notice. He took the Shakan Peters fight at late notice, won it. And then he took the Bivol fight and he didn't win, but he gave a really good account of himself. And sometimes fighters, I mean, it is important to be clever and take fights at the right time, but also you can't let the parade go by. And I think Buatsi at this point is probably thinking, all these dudes, I haven't had my shot yet, and I need to maybe get a move on, because he's got this Azeez fight, which he beats Azeez. If he beats Azeez, then he'll progress forward. But if this fight wasn't made with Azeez, then that could be another fighter who could leapfrog him and maybe get an opportunity to fight for one of them world titles before he does. That's the brutal part of boxing. But Buatsi had that fight with Craig Richards. I had it really close. I thought it could have gone. I think I even scored it as a draw, but you wouldn't argue with Buatsi picking up the win. I think that was an acid test for him. And Richards, I don't think he's as close with Richards as he has been with Buatsi in the past, but it probably gave him a bit of a taster of what it's like to fight someone who you've got no real spite against. You ain't got no venom, no disdain. You just got to get on with it. And his name is Just Business, I think, if he still kept it. So maybe that's how he's approaching it.
That's how he does, right? That's how he does. For Dan Azeez, I mean, you mentioned sort of his story. His story is incredible, isn't it? When you think of area title, English title, British, European, like the old school traditional route that you don't really see anymore. And again, almost a bit like Craig Richards, no backing, no Olympic sort of story there, no big amateur background. He's done it the hard way, and he comes to the ring, I don't want to say with nothing to lose, because he will say he wants to go on for fight for world titles, but all pressure is on Buatsi. Anything Azeez achieves, I think, beyond this is incredible.
Yeah, I think he believes in himself, though, Addy. Yeah. I think so. Therefore, he has sort of got it all to lose, and this is probably an opportunity he feels like he's earned because he's worked hard for it, and this could be the sort of the gatekeeper fight to get him to the very top. So when you start thinking like that, then the pressure's on. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't really put a foot wrong as such, and I think he's been improving as he's been progressing. So and he's a nice guy. I mean, they're both nice guys, and they've got likable styles, likable personalities. So you both want them. You'd be sad to see a loser, but
agreed.
Azeez, I mean, I and I don't mean this I mean this as a massive compliment, Ali. You tell me whether you've seen it or not. But Azeez has got like a Frank Bruno likability quality to him. Like he just sort of like you can imagine just when he's maybe a bit older and the voice gets slightly deeper and the shoulders will just be rocking when he's telling a funny joke, because he's a great storyteller. It matches up with his boxing ability, definitely.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's definitely got a career when he's done just in boxing. Like he's that kind of lovable guy that a lot of people just got behind. Because as you say, there is that kind of Frank Bruno-esque character to him. So look, good luck to both of them. It should be a good fight on Saturday. Ben Whittaker's on the undercard. Bit of Marmite. Some people love him, some people hate him. I absolutely love him. I love what he does in the ring. I love his style outside the ring. I think it's eyeballs on the sport. And I think he's someone, I feel like Ben Shalom's almost holding him back a bit. I feel like he's someone that could be fast-tracked because he looks very, very good against this lower level guys.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I think I think he does need to be fast-tracked as well, because he's 26 years of age, you know, so he's old enough to be fighting for world titles. He just doesn't have the experience yet. Obviously, stellar amateur career, picked up a silver. I was unlucky not to get the gold last time out of the Olympics, and then he had shoulder surgery. So, you know, it's not like miles on the clock, but he's just blitzing through these guys. I watched him on the Bournemouth card at the end of the year, and, you know, they're showboating, which a lot of people, especially the British boxing fans, they're shrugging their shoulders like, I don't get it. They hate it. Yeah. But he does it with a real panache. He does it with real style. It's actually really high quality showboating, which I appreciate. Yeah. Right? So, you know, sometimes there's a low quality shadow boxing, low quality showboating, and I do not agree with that. But I generally think that he'll need that sooner or later. He doesn't want to be too much longer before he's put in a situation where it's going to be tough for him. You always want to keep it a little bit real. And at the moment, he is, because of his age and because of his experience, he doesn't need to do 18 months, 2 years of sort of knockover jobs to build him into it. I think there's lots of his boxing now that is way beyond his professional experience. So, you know, whether it's right to put him in with an Azeez, a Buatsi, a Yard, or a Richards or something like that, but he can't be far off that. He can't be far, in my opinion, by the end of the year. So in another 3 or 4 fights time, he should be fighting the winner of Buatsi Azeez. You know,
that's
like
crazy,
that'll be the level we'll be at.
And you're right, though. I mean, once you have that kind of amateur pedigree, and he's obviously got the confidence. Again, another guy that's trained by an American coach in Sugar Hill Stewart. So he's around a very, very high-level coach. I'm with you. There's no point him going English title route or, you know, or British title route. They might just jump him. And I think in 3 or 4 fights' time, whether it be end of the year or start of 2025, he's right in the mix. A Craig Richards fight by the end of the year would be a good one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good enough. I think they're both, you know, I think Ben Whittaker's good enough, and therefore it's going to be hard to match because you want to test him, you know, and you don't want to push him too far too early. But at the same time, you don't want to just leave him without those tests. He needs tests to improve, to learn to be an accomplished, well-rounded professional fighter.
He certainly does. A good fight card this weekend. Remember, it is live on talkSPORT 2 from 7 o'clock. Then it switches over to talkSPORT at 8 o'clock.